Good morning, PTG fans. Good morning, Lucky Sixes.
Good morning. It is a good morning, isn't it?
It is. Sun is shining. I'm Hyper G, and we're here for a PTG battle report on Warhall, which
Extravaganza.
is extravaganza of fun to be had by all.
Yes,
I
yes. We
I assume.
we're sort of catching up on a lot of our Warhall battles that we've been doing over the
Mm.
last months because obviously we've been doing all the out of
Art
war
of Warring. Had to get the pesky
focus.
Art of War out the way,
Pesky, yeah,
finally.
get that tiny
Yeah.
tournament out of the way,
But
and
almost as soon as Art of War finished, we were on to Urk and Orc Warhall tournament, weren't we? Which
yes,
was a
we were.
worldwide event.
Yes,
So thank you to
and
the
and
folks that ran
yeah,
that.
just before the out of war, we got one of the battle reports from myself up, I think.
I think we did. Yes, I think
Yeah.
we did actually.
So
I think we weren't really sure what order we were doing things in at that point,
yeah.
were we? But
Um, so we
we
so we
kind of
managed to get
straddled it a bit.
yeah.
Mm.
So we managed to get a couple of yours on, and so this week and next week we're sort of taking a Dread Elf focus.
Yeah, sticking with me, aren't we? Really? I mean, if you're
Yeah, for
sick of
now,
me
yeah.
from Art of War, then you got a couple more just to get behind you, and then you can have some better reports with Lucky Sixes soon. I promise. Yeah, I didn't play Vampire Covenant because sometimes we have us at the top and the other person at the bottom. Sometimes, not always. That's not me.
I like to keep you
But
on your toes.
yeah, I'd like to keep you on toes. And the reason it could have been me playing vampires is because online, my two online armies tend to be Dread Elves and Vampire Covenant. Reason being that I just love Vampire Covenant, but it's your army. So when COVID happened
Oh,
and
not
we were playing
precious.
online, I started playing vampires, because they're fun too. I think you'd do the same with orcs, wouldn't you, if you had a chance? Or
Most of the
not
armies, to
all.
be fair.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's certainly some that we particularly enjoy playing every now and again. But enough about Vampire Covenant because they're the enemy in this one. I'm
They
playing Dread
are.
Elves, which is my other online army. I do not own a single Dread Elf model. Neither of us do, actually. I don't think. Um, no, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. We've got lots of elves,
Yeah,
but
Brownie Elves. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So this was a Dread Elves deck that I listed that I picked. It was kind of like a little bit of shades in the past because I love Temple Militants. And I just want Temple Militants in all my lists.
Uh,
But I realized that I couldn't really go full Temple Militants because I don't think they're great at the minute. That might be a controversial statement at the beginning of this report, but either way, went with some other stuff. So I went with the two adept approach because that seems to be popular at the moment. Because I've been playing Saurians a lot, it seems like I play master or nothing with my magic. And when
yeah,
I say
sure,
nothing, I mean the Wizard Enclave or Conclave, whatever it's called.
sure.
So I don't mean nothing as in nothing.
No wizard
Um,
character.
exactly. So in this one, I wanted to play with the two adepts, obviously bringing in six spells. I have to say I liked it. I liked it throughout this tournament. I mean, you'll see how it gets on, obviously, as we put a few of the battles up. But yeah, bringing cosmology and evocation, two laws which I do not usually have access to. They're
Boom.
great. They're such good laws. Both of them. So good. My armies just don't get them. My normal armies, Saurians, Orcs, cannot take either of these laws. So being able to do it was awesome right from the bat. And they are basically naked warlocks, so they have nothing else, just magic.
Do they come with a four
So
up Aegis anyway in the
no,
profile?
no, no, no.
Okay,
Nope.
so they are
No,
naked.
that's the Temple Exarch model,
Ah,
which
I
has
see.
changed a lot from the old days. Basically, I think they're rubbish now. I used to take two as
Fair.
my wizards with divination and all sorts, and I used to love them. But that's part of the reason why I don't think Temple Militants are in a good place because the Exarchs, which used to buff them, are just boring. Anyway, yeah. So I didn't take them. A selection officer, BSB, Kraken's Hide, that's just a cloak that gives him a bit of extra armor to shooting or something, I think. But he goes in a unit anyway, so I don't think I really needed to find out. It does give him a 3-up armor save in total, I think, with his shield. It comes
Cool.
with give him a spear and mastery of slaughter. Now, mastery of slaughter, if you do a wound with this weapon, then the unit he is with, attacking after the agility step, receives a +1 to hit. That to
Nice.
me seems awesome because elves are usually good at offensive skill, which means you're taking it from threes to twos for your whole
Mm,
unit. Now he was
yeah,
going in with the spears, and I've got 35 spears coming. So I
sure.
was thinking, well, great, 35 spears hitting on twos. Yes, please. So that was why I went with that. It is an 80-point weapon, or it was at the time. So it's a quite expensive weapon, and
Yeah.
it does mean the BSB has to has to wound, can't just hit. It has to cause a damage, basically, HP loss,
Sure.
in order to trigger that effect. So there's that. I always stick a potion of swiftness on anyone I think is going to fight in characters. His agility is already really high, but being elf, but yeah, I stick it on because it's cheap and nice. I took a silent assassin as a sort of like must get better at remembering stuff.
Okay.
Because I'm terrible at remembering stuff. So I was like, must remember, bring on your assassin and think about where you're putting them. I don't think they're as good as the Vermin Swarm assassins, but this one is he's just cool. Everyone loves an assassin, right?
Yeah.
There's a big block of spears. They've got Cadron's Pennon. That is a weird one, and I had a few of these items through these effects throughout my list. Basically, Cadron's Pennon means, and I'll read it from you, Recruit, because I'm reminding myself as I,
Yeah.
while the bearer's unit is part of a combined charge, the unit and all other units part of this combined charge must re-roll failed charge range rolls and gain devastating charge hard target 1. Now,
Cool.
the hard target
Hard time.
1
Okay. Yeah.
effect is only really good for stand and shoot, and
Uh-huh.
not a lot has stand and shoot. So in some ways, it's not really for that. But the combined charge thing means if you charge with one other unit in your whole army, then they can both re-roll their charges. That
Both.
to me
Okay.
sounds awesome.
Yeah.
You just have to combine your charges a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, Dread Elves generally have got something called Deep Warfare, which is you get Resolute in a combined charge, I believe. I'm going to check
Okay.
that one as well while we're talking. But basically, this list was all about getting off your combined charges.
Combos.
The combos, exactly, which is again something that will, in theory, force me to be a better player because I've got to think about this. Yeah, so, oh no, actually, so when a unit containing deep warfare, which is a lot of the Dread Elves unit, is part of a combined charge, its charge range rolls gain maximized. So maximized
Maximize
and
and reroll.
rerollable
Sure.
charge. So it's all about me getting off combined charges.
Absolutely.
When
Yeah.
multiple units containing deep warfare are engaged in the same combat, each unit gains first strike resolute 1. And resolute is just an extra rank, basically, of combat res, I think.
Hmm.
So awesome. Just get combined charges off. That's what
Yeah.
this list is all about.
Sure.
18 Selection Spears, they're just looking after the Divine Altar, which is an altar of Nabbed. That's the one that gives battle focus to Dread Elf units within 12 inches.
Oh, that's good.
So I think it's cool. I love battle focus because getting extra hits for sixes is just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It
If I can
is.
ever roll sixes. So yeah. I love that. Interesting fact about the Divine Altar, and it does come up in this battle, so I won't reveal it just yet. 5
Okay.
Shadow Riders, Light Lance, they're just chaff. Yeah, I made them scoring because no, sorry, I didn't make them scoring. They're light troops.
Yeah.
I gave them a standard bearer just because some of the Dread Elf secondary objectives involve units with standard bearers, not
Okay.
scoring
Not
units.
scoring
So I
necessarily.
was like, get a standard bearer on a unit. At least I think that was the case.
And for combined
Um,
charges and
so
things like that,
and yeah, a flank charge on with a standard bearer, get an extra combat res in. You never know.
Yeah.
10 Dread Knights. I love these guys. I mean, they're basically the good version of Raptors from Saurians, with elves on top instead.
Uh-huh.
Saurians have got
Uh-huh.
2 attacks each, admittedly, on top. But the Dread Knights for Dread Elves are just they're just so lethal. Give them great weapon. Like they come in at light strength. Effectively strength 7 because they're getting a +1 to wound on the first turn.
Sure.
So I really love that. And with Elven Finesse, it means there's still high agility going in because of
Uh-huh.
Elf.
Uh-huh.
Banner of Speed just helps with those combined charges as well, making sure there's more
Yeah.
stuff in range.
Yeah.
The Temple Militants, Dancers of Yema, they're the ones that have the upgraded stat line. Dancers of Yema,
That's
let
special.
me again read that. They get an extra, and they count as special. Yeah, you're right. So they're not core, which is fine. So basically, they get first strike +1 attack. They get Weapon Master, and they've got loads of weapons. Great weapon, halberd, hand
Okay.
weapon, and shield.
Cool.
And they also get 5 up Aegis against melee as well. So they're actually a little bit resilient. The
Yeah.
issue with Dread
Nice.
Elves and Infantry is, these guys have got a 6 up armor save, which is actually increased to a 5 up because of Dance of Yema giving them a shield. But they just go down in a slight wind if you're being shot at. So
The elf
get
problem.
them in combat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Red
Divine Altar,
toughness
already,
elf was something
yeah,
that used to
exactly.
get thrown at me.
Exactly. Divine Altar, already mentioned that. 2 units of harpies, they're just chaff, but they're actually got devastating charge +1 attack as well. So yeah, a little bit clory. And a Kraken. I would love to get on gotten two Krakens in, but I couldn't afford it points wise. And I just think
Yeah.
that multiple wounds D3 against certain stuff is awesome, and they're
Cool.
pretty tough. So there you go. That's my thinking. Vampire list. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of text here. I'll try and remember what this is all about. It was against Jeff, and he was playing for Team New Zealand. Is that right? Who he was going against him? Because this was a team tournament. I only mentioned
This
that.
was a team tournament. Yeah.
Um, yeah. So this was a team tournament. I kind of, well, I guess I was team captain of this one.
Very much so.
And so, you know, I got myself into this matchup by doing the pairings.
Yep.
And Jeff is a very, very good player. Like, I've never played Jeff before, so he goes in the 100 club, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But I think it was Team New Zealand. Was it? I think it was. I'm just checking. And yeah, Jeff's an awesome bloke, really good. Really knows his stuff as well. So I was really hoping he would like school me in the intricacies of 3.0
Yeah.
without
Teach you a
it
bit. Yeah.
being on the way to beating me. Yeah, so he's got Sangreal, which is I think is that the battle focus one? Can't remember.
Yes, I think
Well,
so.
either way, the intricacies of this vampire list I can sum up by saying he's got the big unit of Baronites with a
Yeah.
whole load of killy vampires in it. We've come across that before a few times. Elliot's played it, you've played it. It's tough as nails and it's nasty and it moves quick. So the Baronites aren't actually that important. They're just the carriers for the vampires that go in them,
Yeah.
basically. Although I'm looking through the vampire courtier, has he got a mount or is he actually
No,
on
he isn't
foot?
in there, but the other Barra
Is
Kings.
Oh yeah, you got Barry. Yeah, you got Barry Kings in there with the vampire. So yeah, it's just a deadly unit basically.
Yeah.
Big block of ghouls, which is very very nice. Zombies again very nice. With the improvements to infantry, even zombies can be a problem because they're packing so much combat res. If they get in the right place at the right time. Four bat swarms, which I think are a very good unit. I've said that many times. And Barrowguard. Can you believe not only he's got the Baronite unit, but he's got the Barrowguard unit too.
Yeah,
So
man.
he's got both Death Stars. I mean,
Yeah.
pretty much like there's been a bit of a like I don't know, sort of like a trajectory with vampire lists where suddenly Baronite units appeared on the scene, and then everyone started playing Barrowguard units instead, and they're both awesome.
Yeah, it's
And
the,
now
the
this
Dying
this
Blow is
list has
pretty
got both.
good in both, yeah, so
Yeah, so they're both amazing. Two units of Great Bats, which is cool, and then a unit of Vampire Spawn. They're just killy, but if you can
well,
outmaneuver them, all good. Yeah, let's see how it goes. Cornerstone and Forage and Plunder. Forage and Plunder, that was very in my mind from Art of War, where Luke foraged and plundered a lot better than I did. But
sure,
basically,
yeah.
just get in terrain pieces and plunder them at the right times. Simple as that. Capture the flag. Yeah, so this is the one actually. I'm glad that it's come up straight away because it actually demonstrates it. At the end of the game, you win the secondary objective if you have more standard bearers and BSBs on the battlefield than the opponent has. Nothing to do with scoring. So
Yeah,
the fact that my light troops, Shadow
keep him
Riders
alive.
were, yeah, not scoring didn't matter. If they could, yeah, they've got a standard bearer, they're helping with the secondary.
Yeah,
And
nice.
Jeff got sell the score, which is easy, kill someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won't go into that again.
Oop.
Um, cool. Yeah, that's just. I think apparently I took a picture of the terrain.
You did.
Very good at me.
This is the
But
pre-battle, and this was
pre-battle, yep,
deployment.
yep. And that's the deployment. Yeah, there we go. I can't remember who went first. Maybe you can remember from the pictures, but we'll just go through deployment anyway, and then we'll
Yeah.
find out who goes first in a minute. On my left, I've got the Kraken with the Dread Knights. Then I've got the Altar of Nabbed with the spear block. That spear block looks like a decent block considering how many spaces the Nabbed altar takes up. There's only 18 spears, but the
Yeah.
altar does its work. I've got both my sanctioned warlocks in there, both my casters, either side. So if anything gets into the front, those warlocks are peeing their pants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I got the Temple Militants, and oh boy, does that look a lot smaller than I thought it should.
Yeah.
When you're already vulnerable to shooting, you want that unit to look a lot healthier in terms of HP. And yeah, that is not a big unit of them. So my assassin is waiting in the wings behind. I think I told Jeff at the start of this, do not let me forget my assassin, which is a little bit of a weird one to ask your opponent, but you know. Then I got two harpies, then the spears with the BSB in, and the shadow riders on the right hand side. For Jeff, he's got his what are they called? They're
Vampire
not
Spawn.
Varkalax anymore. That's the one. Yep. Then he's got two of the bat swarms,
Great
great bats
bats.
actually. Yep. Then zombies, then the ghouls, then the barrow guard. Actually, the barrow guard might be in the middle, actually, which interested me because he's gone bus formation with the barrow guard as well as the zombies and the ghouls. I mean, it's all just to get the combat res, isn't it?
It
Really,
is,
like
yeah,
no one
at the end
actually
of the
cares
day.
about killing stuff anymore. It's
Yeah,
just about outlasting stuff. That's 3.0, baby.
yeah,
You know. Then he's got the bat swarms, and then he's got the Barrow Knight unit. And I was quite pleased to see the Barrow Knight unit on one side of the board, about avoiding them at all costs.
yeah.
Actually, to be fair, I was thinking about avoiding the Barrow Guard as well, but we'll see how this goes. Yeah. There you go. I
Vanguard.
get first turn. Oh no, Vanguard. Yes. So I moved up the Shadow Riders on the right hand side. I was trying to, to keep them alive, but also be an annoyance, if that makes sense. Because obviously they're standard bearer
Yeah,
situation. Oh yeah, and Cornerstone means you get a small Vanguard, doesn't it? I
I
think
think so.
in the
Yeah,
deployment. Yeah. So I think the Kraken has moved forward a little bit. I gave it to the Kraken
but
just
either
to
way, he gets
threaten
first
that
turn.
flank. Yes, he gets first turn, runs at me, as is expected, really. We've got two flags. Oh, that's the forage. Those are the two terrain pieces that we're trying to plunder, basically. So we go straight for the field on the right. I don't know if he's going to stay there to plunder it or whether he's going to come at me. I would love it if he just stayed there all game. But he doesn't need to stay there all game. I think he only needs to plunder it in like turn 3 onwards, and then it's his or something like that. The ruins in the middle is a bit of a problem because he's got a lot of scoring units near it, and I
Yeah,
don't know whether my militants can handle everything he's got in the middle. So got to hope some magic does some stuff, and we'll see how we go. Yeah, I don't think there was much else in terms of his. Oh, the Dread Knights have got the token for the unit he's trying to kill
cool.
for his secondary. I think that's what the skull demonstrates anyway. Can't remember that being anywhere
This is
else.
your movement.
Oh, my movement. Okay, cool. Sorry, I didn't even notice. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite minimal. Yeah, I shot the Shadow Riders up the flank to be out of danger of the Barrow Knights, and also to potentially give them something to do later on. Then I turned them around because they're light troops, obviously, which is awesome. And I don't have any intention of charging them into the Barrow Knights by any means, but I did think
Yeah.
that maybe they could do a little bit of a hassling job on the middle. The harpies sort of spread out so that they can get ready to chaff the Baronites over and over again, and minimize the amount of turns that he gets out of that Baronite unit. My militants have taken some damage already. I'm guessing that's from magic,
Yep.
from the vampire side of things. So they do move forward. My issue is I don't really think they can take on anything in combat with the Barrow Guard there. So I was kind of thinking to myself, I've just got to take a bit of damage with the militants and hope to not die by the end of it and seize on a charge if I get it. Now, I know that is kind of counter my little plan with the combined charges and everything, but I just didn't feel like I had the firepower to deal with Barrow Knights and Barrow Guard in this one.
Hmm.
Um, so
It's
I
interesting
don't
because I
know.
think
Do you think otherwise?
yes, the militants do beat the Beauregard on its own,
Hmm.
just because there's not too many attacks, even with dying blow. There's not too many, and but you do have a character in there, and the grind is not very good, so you do need to
No.
wipe them out.
Yeah, because you only get +1 to wound on the first round of combat with my militants as well. The minute I say take, I think if it was just Beauregard 1-on-1 and there wasn't a ruins in the way, and there wasn't like bat swarms all over the place and flank charging ghouls and all sorts, then I might have been a bit more aggressive with
Of
them.
course, yeah,
But yeah, yeah, I don't think. Yeah, the one-on-one fight, I didn't really get a chance to assess it at the time.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my knights move forward to back up the Kraken. All I'm thinking about is don't let those vampire spawn get round me. You know, they want to be round me. They want to be round my flank. They want to be behind me. They want to be causing me problems. Don't let them get there. and I
Yeah.
was prepared to not lose my Dread Knights to stop him getting his secondary, and I know that I had more points over there than the Vampire Spawn is worth,
Yeah.
but my secondary is all about keeping my standards alive, so that's the Dread Knights. His secondary is about killing the Dread Knights, keep the Dread Knights alive. Everything was telling me keep the Dread Knights alive and force the Vampire Spawn to go in front of them in order to get to anything useful.
Yeah.
So bit of a standoff there. Cool. I had no other good targets other than to magic some bats. So yeah, why not? Magic some bats. Um, I think I magic some more. Oh no, I didn't magic more bats. This is actually him doing the occultism sacrifice thingy.
Right. Sure.
What's it called these days? It's the one that does a bubble. I'll have a little look because it comes into it quite a lot because this is quite a funky little spell actually. And I had to learn what it did. Let's see, what is it called? I'm assuming it's still the same in this version I've got downloaded, which is Devour. Is it Devouring Dark and the Sacrifice? I think so. There's a hex with range. Yeah, yeah. The sacrifice. Before casting certain spells, you may choose a friendly unit within 12 inches of the caster to immediately zero in the Devouring Dark. So if you do Devouring Dark on your own unit, then you increase the range of the spell you're doing, basically.
Okay.
Um, I think something like that anyway. And there was a like ranged spell that he was doing essentially. And I think maybe in the next picture it's going to show that he's targeted some of the harpies. Uh,
Not this
maybe
time.
not.
Maybe you just spelled
Not
it.
this time. Maybe I've yeah, maybe I've dispelled it, but I'm a turn earlier than I think because there's definitely something funky that's going to go on over there
Okay.
in a bit. In terms of his other movement, he does move the vampire spawn into the middle. I was happy with that because that meant that I could rest a little bit easier about him getting around my flank. And then I was feeling that I was going to turn the corner on him instead with the Kraken and keep him there and push him into the middle where I felt maybe my Dread Knights could do something. But while the vampire spawn were out on the flank, I didn't feel that I could do that. So I was happy that he moved them inwards a little bit. Otherwise, I moved the harpies back, and I think that was possibly because of that spell. I got scared about it.
Sure.
And
Okay.
also, I didn't actually know whether my spears could actually survive the Barrow Knights. It's a tough one. Spears against cavalry is awesome, but not if
It's only
Barrow Kings and
+2
vampires have
AP, isn't it?
killed 20 models before you strike, or even after you strike, is a problem. So I wasn't sure if I could take them on with the spears, but either way, I thought to myself, keep my harpies alive, and you've got 2 turns of Barrow Knights not doing anything.
Exactly.
So I just held off, basically. There's an interesting story about why Jeff might have held back a little bit as well. This is his turn two, and into my turn two. He hasn't moved forward in his turn two, basically. I know I was first, wasn't I? So his turn two's
No, he
coming
was
up, right?
first. This is your
Oh yeah,
second.
yeah, yeah.
It's your
So he
response
didn't
to
really
his turn
advance
two.
too far. Mm. Yeah, I didn't do a lot more other than bringing the Kraken up and turning the corner, really. I managed to kill off the bats, which is awesome because
Yeah.
who expects to do that with magic when vampires are just recovering wounds? Jeff didn't recover wounds because he was trying to hurt me, and yeah, meant I could get some points on the board.
No,
So
it's good.
delighted with that. One chaff unit gone. Okay, yeah, this is where it begins. So he does like the Devouring Dark to his own unit, which kills off a few of the bat swarms, which is
Yeah.
fine. But because he's increasing the range of what he's doing, it means that he affects both harpies and the spears. And
Yeah.
harpies struggle with this sort of stuff because they're not tough. Like they're even weaker than elves, really, because they haven't got any kind of armor at all. And it meant that yeah, my chaff was suffering. It was still on the board though, and
Which is the
I
main thing.
think yeah, which is the main thing. That's all I needed to be. And he
Is this
tentatively moves
pentagram? Is he
forward.
using pentagram of pain?
Am I thinking pentagram rather than devouring
Well,
dark?
this
It
well,
makes
devouring
sense.
dark is that's
Oh yeah,
part of
pentagram is
the
an aura. Yeah, you're
yeah.
right. I am thinking pentagram. Yeah, exactly that. Yes, I am thinking pentagram. Not devouring dark was confusing things because it's part of the sacrifice. So he was devouring dark his own bats and
Yeah,
pentagramming me, basically. So that didn't make a lot of sense. Yeah. Cool. But yeah, I've still got my happies on the board, which is all I need at this point. And with my BSB there, um, they're still on. Uh, okay, what do we
this is
got
you moving up.
here? Yeah, me moving up. Yeah, so I figure I need to chaff them now, or I'm going to lose my harpies to the spell, basically. Um, yeah, I think my Shadow Riders also just move round because I was thinking my Shadow Riders, if his Bat Swarms are actually taking wounds from his own spells, maybe my Shadow Riders could get through them. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
I know Bat Swarms are a bit of a tar pit, like they're really tough. You
yeah.
think you can charge into them with some heavy combat unit and they just don't die because you'll be hitting on like fives or sixes or whatever it is and stuff. But in the flank, I thought to myself, Shadow Riders might be able to kill enough of them that I can just grind them out, and that would
Sure.
be an awesome use of Shadow Riders because
Yeah,
you know.
that'd be great. Good points.
Um, mm, yeah. My militants are still moving forward, tentatively because he's just not giving me any gaps to move into or anything like that. The ghouls are still too much of a threat, um, and in fact, I've got the wrong way around. The ghouls are on the left, and they're guarding the obstacle, the wall. The
Sure.
zombies are on the
Zombies.
right, but nonetheless, zombies contributing like +5 combat res is going to be the sort of thing that tips the balance in a fight, one-on-one Beauregard and militants, isn't it? Even if the Beauregard weren't providing that combat res anyway. So I didn't want to give any options over. My altar with the napped is moving slowly towards the spears. You know that they started on the left-hand side,
Uh-huh.
managed to pew a bit of battage on the way through, and I'm moving them slowly towards the spears. That's so that I can get the 12-inch battle focus bubble off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, on my spears if they ever do have to fight the Baron Knights. And meanwhile, he moves. I just keep countering the vampire spawn. I don't really fancy the Dread Knights into the front of the ghouls because he'll have distracting on them from the wall.
Okay.
I know what you're thinking. AP 0 and I'm 2 up armor. Absolutely. But the counter charge from the vampire spawn
Yeah.
could wreck the Dread Knights
Yeah. Not while they're down.
um, in the flank. And I don't know if I would have a turn in which to countercharge with the Kraken. Because the Kraken could eat through vampire spawn 100% because it does multiple wounds to height
Yeah.
3 up. So I
Yeah.
don't have a problem with that combat. But one combat of vampire spawn in the flank of the Dread Knights with the ghouls still having a decent amount of combat res would be a problem. So I'm
Mm.
holding fire there, being
Sure.
patient.
Yeah. I'm very patient.
Yeah.
And the assassin's still not in.
Assassin's still not in. I still have not remembered yet. But I'm okay. We're okay here. We're okay. Still not in. This is Jeff's turn.
I
He
think this
gets
is your
some
magic,
spells. Oh, my magic. Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Cosmo.
I think I killed one Barrow Knight with something. What's the number 2 evocation spell? I don't know if Warhall was updated with the right numbers,
Yeah.
actually, to be
Yeah.
fair. So I don't know if number 2 really helps because it wasn't Dance Macabre on them. It might have been a Touch of the Reaper. I think I had Touch of the Reaper.
Sure.
Whether that was ever number 2, I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, I had 2 missile spells and I had 4 buff spells basically in the 6 spells I was taking. And because I wasn't really pressing combat, I just had 2 missiles each turn. So I was
Yeah.
doing a couple of wounds here and there.
That's good. That's good.
Um, he charges into this. I believe he had Strider on his. Did he have Strider on his Baron Knights? No, actually. Can't remember if it
Yeah. I
was.
can't remember.
Um, I think he did because I put my bats in the forest, thinking to myself, I might be able to force a few DTs if he charges my chaff. But
Yeah.
I don't believe he
It would
took
make sense to
DTs.
put
So
a strider on them. It would make sense.
yeah, it would. It would. There's nothing else that would really benefit from it at all. But he wasn't showing too much fear of my spears. A little bit of fear early on, but now he's creeping closer. I have still
Especially
got
in
one
the
unit of
forest,
harpies
because you're not
in the forest
stalkers,
as
right?
well. No, I am not stalkers. Interestingly, I am not. I'm not Strider. Yes. Good point. My Shadow Riders are blocked by the bat swarms that grow loads back this turn.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
they decide I'm not going in front of the bats,
Yeah.
not in that situation, because I'll be there forever and you'll probably grind me out. So my Shadow Riders get the hell out of there. I somehow managed to light troops out of his line of sight, which I was actually really impressed
Nice.
by. I didn't think I'd
Because you
manage to do
can't
that, but I did.
march, can you, at that point? Because you've
No,
got light
couldn't
troops and light
march.
troops.
Indeed, indeed. But I had a 9-inch move and I managed to get out of his line of sight. That's the beauty of Warhall. You can do that sort of stuff and pretty quickly, you
Yeah.
know. So it's really cool. I moved my harpies up to chaff the baronites again to get another turn out of that. And you can see that my militants are just sort of like easing their way towards the spears because we both know I'm not taking on the middle now. Like this is the game's
Yeah.
up in terms of that. But I'm thinking to myself, if I can get the militants over to support my spears with the altar of Nabbed nearby for battle focus on both of them, maybe in the last couple of turns I could rush his baronites with both and actually take out that unit and get myself
Yeah.
a big win while his barrow guard just sit there waving. That was my
Sure.
thinking at this side. So I'm just sort of
Did
sidestepping
in
slowly.
terms of the objective of he hasn't plundered anything, or he has
He
plundered
hasn't yet. No, I think maybe his baronites did in with the field.
because they stayed back one extra turn, didn't
They
they?
did stay about one extra turn, so maybe he started his turn 3 still in the field.
Sure. But you obviously haven't plundered anything.
Um, I haven't plundered anything. No. So sorry, you paused. What was the question?
You haven't plundered anything.
I haven't plundered anything. I haven't gone close enough to any of the terrain pieces that was needed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And still my Dread Knights keep the stalemate going on the left hand side. So that's that. Now, my plan to get the militants into the last hurrah against the Baronites was countered quite ruthlessly by a unit
Yeah.
of zombies. I did not expect this. Literally, we
No,
had
this
been
is odd.
staring at each other for a long time, and all of a sudden, the zombies of all people
Yeah.
comes in and charges my militants.
The
I
zombies with big
could not
cojones.
I could not hide my delight. I thought
Yeah.
this was a free unit of zombies, basically. I was even more surprised by the fact that his barrow guard didn't move forward while they were doing it. Because I thought to myself, if the zombies just hold me up for a turn,
Yeah.
maybe the barrow guard are planning something. But they weren't. They just stayed back. And his bat swarm came up, which was fine because I'd given up on them with the Shadow Riders. And yeah, he killed the last Harpy unit with his Baronites. But I'm thinking to myself, well,
Yeah. Half
I've
the
killed a
zombies are
few of the
gone. Yeah.
Baronites. If the zombies are gone, and half of them die in the combat, because yeah, I mean I've only got +1 attack on the first turn,
Sure.
but I should be able to get through zombies because it's my turn next. So,
Yeah, man.
not an issue. Yeah, I was really happy about that. Really happy. And this is my movement. I've kind of forced the issue. And I bring my assassin on.
Yes.
No, I don't bring my assassin on. I don't bring my
Oh,
assassin on.
no, you
This is
just
me telling Jeff that at the start of his turn 5, my assassin is coming into my spears.
okay.
So
There's
basically,
not an they're not a thing with has to be done by turn 4. No,
No, I don't think
is it
so.
Cecil's?
I don't
Okay.
think so.
All
I
right.
mean, you're
Cool.
making me doubt myself now, but
I'm sure there
uh,
was something like that about assassins and things like that.
oh, I hope not, because I
Yeah.
didn't bring him in until now.
But I don't know. I don't know.
Let's
It could be
see.
me making stuff up from like 2 years ago, so
Uh,
that might have been taken out.
oh, the hidden rule. I don't know what the hidden rule is. Whatever
Yeah,
the hidden
yeah,
rule
yeah.
is.
Let
But
us
yeah,
know.
I mean,
But
yeah, I'm gonna search for it now because you're making me think I'm cheating. Because I cheat on occasion. No, I don't. I don't. I try not to.
yeah, yeah, not on
So let's
purpose.
see. No, not on purpose. Exactly. Yeah. No, there's nothing about turn 4.
Good. I'll
Yeah,
make a
no, it's
note
all
of
good.
that. Yep.
Yeah, you are. You're loser. Yeah. Yeah, no, there's nothing about turn 4. It's all good. I can come in
Good.
turn 5. Yeah.
Good.
So this is me telling Jeff that I'm putting him in the spears at the start of his turn 5.
Yeah.
So if he wants to charge me, they're going to have an assassin with them, basically.
You can do that
And
on
I,
each turn as well. That's really cool. I've not used assassins
yeah,
before.
any player turn, any player turn. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
neither had I.
Awesome.
So I'm
Yeah.
learning as I go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you
exactly.
get quite aggressive on the
Um,
left flank.
I do. Reason I'm thinking is that, if he moves in turn 5, his vampire spawn into my flank, which I've now given him, it won't matter because I'm going to charge my Kraken into the flank of his ghouls, and then I'm going to charge my Dread Knights into the front of his ghouls and eat up the ghouls so quickly that if he does then charge into the flank of one or both of them,
Yeah,
I'll have killed enough ghouls. It just changes the trajectory of the fight, really.
absolutely.
So I moved up, and I didn't think his vampire spawn would come into the front of the Kraken because he would eat them alive. Um, so yeah, I pushed the button really, and same with the spears. I moved towards the Dread Knights.
Yeah,
I got an evocation buff off. I can't remember which one that is. I'm just flicking between books.
that's
Uh,
occultism on
oh, that's a
you.
cultist. Oh, so
So I think
he.
your two
So
ones
yeah,
on him.
right. Yes. So we're basically just trading options. I think the hereditary for Dread Elves is the one where you take away one AP from them and gain one AP against them. So it's like a
Nice.
double AP shift.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Um, yeah, and the
Good. That's
number
good for
one spell,
Riddles, actually.
mm,
I like
really
that.
good. Cosmology and the hereditary are so good, so good. Yeah, so I'm basically saying to him, okay, if you want this fight, then
Let's do it.
we'll see what happens. Yeah, yeah. Uh, oh yeah, I kill a few
Zombies.
more zombies, but I don't kill them to a zombie, which is
Okay.
it's fine. The barricade is still back there, so I'm just
Yeah,
chilling,
yeah,
really.
yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, if I can kill them in the next turn, then I can move sideways and go towards the Baronites, and maybe last turn charge in. 'Cause it's coming up for his 5, I think. Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's coming up to his 5. Yeah. So I would have turn 6 to maybe do a long charge because it would be a combined charge, so maximized and re-rolling, um, and maybe do the Baronites. So yeah, this is the showdown. But Jeff scuppers my plans once again to do a last hurrah on the Knights by charging in the Bat Swarms. Um, this one interested me because there was a lot of HP in that Bat Swarm unit. But I was
Yeah,
kind of thinking to myself, I've got 3 turns to grind through that Bat Swarms, and
yeah.
militants are not going to die to them.
Yeah, pretty
And
full unit. It's not. They're looking pretty
yeah,
healthy at this point.
yeah, exactly. So I was like, this is another example of 3 points. So I was like, yeah, all right, I'll have it. His Beauregard moved that way, which kind of puts me off the whole charge with the Kraken and the Dread
Yeah, sure.
Knights. Just a little bit, but that's the next turn's decision. You can
Yeah,
see the assassin is in the unit of spears. He didn't take the charge with his Baronites. Maybe my magic and the assassin threat saw him off.
yeah,
And he also moved a bit sideways so that he wasn't a threat of the militants, although the militants have been held up now anyway. So yeah, but all good there. Yeah, I don't think this shows a lot more
has
yet
he
from the combat.
re-healed his swarms?
Yeah, more bats, which is fine. Yeah, I'll either grind him out by the end of the game or I won't, basically.
Yeah,
Kill the zombies and start killing the bats in the middle. That's nice. Oh, it looks
and
like
his
his Baronites have moved.
Baron Knights are
Yeah,
back to full as well.
they're back to full. Yeah, so I wasn't really planning on charging them without the help of the militants. So, that was
Yeah,
fine. I've got 2 more turns to go through these guys. I moved up one of my warlocks to get a shot off with some magic. I think I was moving her I think I was moving her actually so that her augments were in range of the Dread Knights if I wanted to pull the trigger.
sure.
Because up until that point she wasn't in range. I think I was going to give them the +1 to hit spell on the Dread Knights just to maximize their wounding on the ghouls if needs be. Um, that was the thinking there because there was no threat to her, no ranged magic from that side of the board
But
from the
hey,
vampire player. Yeah, killed the bat swarms over the combat, and yeah, I mean it seemed like 3 points to me. Um, it did mean that I couldn't plunder the middle though, I guess,
yeah,
if you think about it. But I think I needed to have started a new turn in that terrain piece, so I don't think I was getting there. So yeah, now that I look at it and think about it, I think in the middle, maybe Jeff was throwing the zombies and the bats at me to stop my militants going forward and plundering the terrain.
sure.
But the only issue with that is I still think that the Barrowguard could have countercharged my militants and done a number on them. So I don't know if that's the reason he put those units against me or not. But either way, I was delighted because I got 2 free units of points.
Yeah,
And yes, I didn't have time to plunder the terrain in the middle. So Jeff did win the primary. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
but this is the last picture, so this is showing things
Yes.
as it ended.
Yeah, pretty much because it was into his last turn coming up for this. and it was basically just a decision. I didn't take on the charge with the Dreadnoughts and the Kraken, basically in my last turn,
Yeah.
because of the Beauregard being near. So I think I just moved them so that the Vampire Spawn couldn't charge them in his turn 6. Basically, just said no to that flank.
Yeah.
And Jeff didn't take the Baron Knight charge in his turn 5. I didn't take it in my turn 6. And so he didn't take it in his turn 6 either. And we just had a stare off on that right
Yeah,
corner,
sure.
really. A bit of a stare off all round, really. But I found this one a really tactical, fun battle to
Yeah.
play, because it was
A
sort
lot
of
of
like,
bluffing and
yeah, a
double
lot of
bluffing.
bluffing and
Yeah.
outmaneuvering and a little chipping away at points, etc. But it turns out that Jeff was slightly disadvantaged in the fact that he thought my spears on the right-hand side had Strider, and that was why they
Oh,
wouldn't have been worried about the forest and losing their ranks and all that sort of stuff. He
okay.
thought that I had the altar, which I think is Altar of Yema
Right.
or something like that, which gives Strider to everything within 12 inches,
Oh, does it? Okay.
which is quite a good little buff that Divine Altar gives. And I hadn't really looked at it twice. I
Yeah.
could be wrong about the name of it, by the way. But I actually had the Altar of Nabt, which gave battle focus. So I didn't have Strider at all. But Jeff thought
Sure.
I did. And so he
Okay.
was a little bit cautious with that Baronite unit because he thought I could Strider through the forest.
Right.
Sometimes it's awesome when your
Yeah.
opponent thinks you're better than you are.
Yeah, it's
But
like he
yeah,
can't
so
be. He's so confident coming towards this forest. He can't not have Strider.
exactly,
There you
exactly.
go.
But it turns out, in reality, I was just not planning on fighting the
Yeah.
Baron Guard,
Fake
Knights,
it till you
Orbital
make
Guard.
it, folks.
Fake it till you make it. You got it, yeah. So how did it end up? Let's have a look at the pointage. Yeah, Vampires did get the win, narrow win. I got more points. Basically, I killed way more than he did, really. In term, way more is a bit of an
Yeah, way
exaggeration.
more. Yeah, true.
I killed
Two
two
units.
units of
Yeah.
bats and one unit of zombies.
But it was enough.
Um, it was enough. It was enough. Exactly. He killed two units of harpies. I got my secondary because I had more scoring.
Yeah.
More standard bearers
Standards.
on the
Yeah.
board than he did. He did not get his secondary because the Dread Knights survived. So that tipped it back my way a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and I was delighted with this result. This was 9 points I didn't think I was getting. Jeff's such a good player, and his list was so strong with two Death Star units that I did not think I could handle this and come out
Oh,
with
great.
many points. So I was really happy with 9 points, I have to say.
Yeah.
And I felt like I just about played it tactically well. Um, and yeah, so
A good.
I came out of
It's
this
a
feeling
good
good.
team tournament game, actually.
Mm. Yeah,
In
yeah,
terms of that, especially round one.
yeah. Round one,
And you were
exactly. Yeah, it was.
relatively early on in the week as well,
I
so
was.
it
I
was a very
was.
good from the captain, of course. I would expect
Yeah,
nothing less.
there you go. And I kind of felt like throughout the tournament as well that when pairing, I was not trying to get a good matchup for myself. That was kind of my thoughts really, because I was thinking I'll play Dread Elves. I'm not a pro with Dread Elves, so I'm just gonna take the bad matchups that other people don't want and just try and get as many points as I can.
Yeah.
That was my thinking in terms of pairing, captain, throwing yourself under the bus, maybe. Although Jeff was the captain of his team, so maybe he thought the same. I don't know. So yeah, it was an interesting one, but I came away really, really pleased with this result, and I felt
Yeah.
like I actually put some thought into it, and it worked out how I wanted it to. So
Yeah, a
yeah.
good battle to start us off, and we've got one more
Mm.
battle from your Erkenork before we officially get
Move on.
modernized,
Yes,
and we're up to the
the
official
latest 3.0 rules.
latest
Yeah,
3.0. But yeah,
yeah.
we have one more of these coming up with Dreadels. Let
Yeah,
us
we're
know
not
what you
doing all
thought.
of Erkenork, are we? We're not
No,
doing
no,
all the
no,
battle
no.
reports because they weren't quite as, not all of them were as
We've
fun
got
and
so many
juicy.
to get
So,
through, and we've played so much on Warhall in the last few
mhm.
months that we need to get the new ones up and running. But we did
Yeah,
want to take a look at these because there were some interesting ones. This one was tactical. The next one was pretty
yeah,
cool as well. So do
mm,
like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz.
yeah.
Click on the notification bells. Check us out on the social medias you see here. Warhall, of course,
Mm,
because
mm.
otherwise we wouldn't have this
Thank
battle
you,
report.
Hugo and team.
Yeah, man. And magneticmovementtrade.com for your in real life
Yes,
things. So
yes.
IRL. But yeah, we'll leave it there for now. One more Erkenwalk, and then we'll get on to some new ventures.
Sounds good. Look forward to seeing you there, folks.
See you later.